Daniel was 18 years old. Tall, respectful, and soft-spoken, he was the kind of young man who greeted everyone he met. He never caused trouble, never got into fights, and always tried to do the right thing. Yet every morning, he woke up carrying a burden that nobody could see, the burden of feeling like a failure. For years, Daniel had attended one of the most prestigious international schools in the city. His parents had sacrificed a lot to keep him there. His father worked long hours. His mother constantly encouraged him. Private tutors had been hired. Extra lessons had been arranged. Every opportunity had been given to him. But no matter how hard he tried, Daniel continued to struggle. He failed once. Then, he repeated the class. He failed again, and repeated it a second time. Now, at 18 years old, he was sitting in classrooms with students much younger than him. Every report card brought the same disappointment. Every exam season brought the same fear. Every family gathering brought the same uncomfortable questions. How is school going? What class are you in now? When will you finish? Daniel hated those questions, not because people were trying to be cruel, but because he had no answers. One Friday afternoon, the final results arrived. Daniel sat alone in the classroom, staring at the paper in his hands. His heart sank. He had failed again. The words on the report card seemed to blur before his eyes. Around him, students celebrated. Some laughed with excitement. Others hugged their friends. But Daniel remained seated, silent. For several minutes, he simply stared at the floor. He already knew what was waiting for him at home. Disappointment. Again. That evening, the family gathered around the dining table. Nobody spoke much. Daniel could feel the tension. His younger brother and sister talked about school projects and upcoming exams. They were doing well, very well, the kind of well Daniel wished he could be. Eventually, his father put down his fork. Daniel. The room became quiet. Yes, Dad. Your mother and I have done everything we can. Daniel lowered his eyes. His father continued. We paid for tutors. We paid for extra classes. We gave you every opportunity. The words were calm, but they carried years of frustration. Daniel felt his chest tighten. I know, Dad. His father sighed heavily. For a moment he looked exhausted. Not angry, just tired. Very tired. Then he said something Daniel would never forget. Son, I don't know what else to do for you. The words struck harder than any shouting could have. Daniel nodded slowly. He could not trust himself to speak. That night, he lay awake in bed, staring into the darkness. From his window, he could see the lights of the city. His younger brother and sister were already asleep. Tomorrow they would continue moving forward, while he remained stuck. Daniel turned over and buried his face in his pillow. For the first time in his life, tears rolled down his cheeks. He felt ashamed, embarrassed, lost. He closed his eyes and whispered a prayer. God. His voice trembled. I don't understand why this keeps happening. I try. I really do try. Please help me. Please show me that my life has a purpose. The room remained silent. There was no answer, no miracle, no voice from heaven, only darkness. But unknown to Daniel, his life was about to change. And the answer to his prayer would come in a form he never expected. A teacher who refused to give up on him. Several months passed after Daniel was transferred by the parents to the local school due to his failure. At first, he hoped things would get better. They didn't. Every morning, he walked through the school gate, feeling like he didn't belong. Most of his classmates were younger than him. Some were 14, others were 15. A few were 16. Daniel was 18. It didn't take long for everyone to notice. How old are you? one student asked during his first week. 18, Daniel replied. The group burst into laughter. 18? You're serious? One boy shook his head. You're older than my brother. Another laughed. The old man of the class. The nickname spread quickly. Soon, everyone knew it. Whenever Daniel walked past, someone would whisper it. Sometimes they shouted it. Sometimes they laughed. Daniel pretended it didn't bother him. But every joke felt like another stone added to the burden he already carried. During lunch breaks, he often sat alone. While other students talked and laughed together, Daniel quietly ate his lunch under a tree near the edge of the school grounds. Most days, nobody joined him. Most days, nobody noticed him at all. And perhaps that hurt the most. Back at home, things weren't much easier. Every morning, he watched his younger brother and sister put on their international school uniforms. They talked about school projects, examinations, future plans, dreams. Then the school bus would arrive. Daniel would stand at the doorway and watch it disappear down the road. After it was gone, he would begin his own walk to school. Sometimes he wondered if his life would ever move forward again. One morning, before sunrise, another person was preparing for the day. Her name was Miss Neema. Like every morning, she sat quietly beside her bed, with her Bible open. The room was peaceful. The sun had not yet risen. After reading a few verses, she bowed her head and prayed, Lord, thank you for another day. Help me teach with patience. Help me encourage those who are struggling. And if there is a student who needs hope today, please allow me to make a difference in their life. After finishing her prayer, she smiled softly and prepared for school. She had no idea that her prayer was already being answered. The answer was sitting quietly in the back row of her classroom. Daniel. For several months, Miss Neema observed him. He rarely spoke, rarely participated, rarely smiled. Yet there was something different about him. Unlike many students, he was respectful. He greeted teachers politely. He helped carry books when asked. He never caused trouble. And whenever someone needed assistance, he quietly stepped forward without seeking attention. One afternoon, during a science lesson, the classroom projector suddenly stopped working. The screen went black. The students groaned. Miss Neema pressed a few buttons. Nothing happened. She checked the cables. Still nothing. The lesson had come to a halt. Then a quiet voice came from the back of the classroom. Miss, may I take a look? The class turned around. It was Daniel. For a moment, Miss Neema hesitated. Then she nodded. Daniel walked to the front. He examined the cables, checked the power connection, adjusted a few settings. Less than 5 minutes later, the projector flickered back to life. The classroom erupted in applause. Daniel looked embarrassed by the attention and quickly returned to his seat. But Miss Neema couldn't stop thinking about what she had just seen. After class, she called him over. Daniel, who taught you how to do that? He shrugged. No one. No one? I just like figuring things out. Miss Neema looked at him carefully. For the first time, she saw something she hadn't noticed before. Not failure, not weakness, potential. The kind of potential that often hides behind disappointment. That evening, after returning home, Miss Neema sat quietly thinking about Daniel. Then she prayed again. Lord, there must be a reason this boy crossed my path. Help me see what others have missed. And from that day forward, Miss Neema began paying closer attention. She didn't know exactly how, she didn't know exactly when, but she had made a decision. She was not going to give up on Daniel, even if everyone else already had. And for the first time in a very long while, Daniel's life was about to change. As the months passed, Miss Neema continued encouraging Daniel. She reminded him that his past failures did not determine his future. Slowly, Daniel began believing in himself again. One morning, the school principal made an exciting announcement. A national technology and innovation competition would be held in the capital city. Students from schools across the country would participate. The winner would receive a fully funded scholarship to a prestigious international technology institute. The entire school was excited, but there was one condition. Each school could only send one student, one representative. For days, students talked about nothing else. Who would be chosen? Who had the best chance of winning? When the teachers met to choose a candidate, many names were suggested. Some teachers recommended students with better grades. Others suggested students with more experience. Then, Miss Neema spoke. "I would like to nominate Daniel." The room became quiet. Some teachers looked surprised. After all, Daniel was not known as the top student in the school. One teacher asked, "Are you sure?" Miss Neema nodded confidently. "I have seen something in him that others have not. I believe he deserves this opportunity." After a long discussion, the decision was finally made. Daniel would represent the school. A few days later, Daniel was called to the principal's office. When he heard the news, he was speechless. "Me?" he asked. "Yes, Daniel," Miss Neema replied. "But what if I fail?" Miss Neema smiled. "Then you will learn." "But what if I'm not good enough?" Miss Neema looked directly into his eyes. "Daniel, stop asking what could go wrong. Start asking what could go right." For the next several weeks, Daniel worked harder than ever before. Every afternoon he stayed after school. He researched, practiced, made mistakes, started over, and tried again. Some nights he fell asleep over his books. Other nights he knelt beside his bed and prayed, "Lord, help me do my best. Help me make my family proud. Help me make Miss Neema proud. Most importantly, help me believe in myself." Competition day finally arrived. The hall was filled with talented students from schools across the country. Many came from prestigious schools with better facilities and resources. For a moment, old fears returned. Daniel felt small. He felt ordinary. He felt like the same boy who had failed over and over again. The same boy who thought his future was over. Then he remembered Miss Neema's words, and he remembered the prayer he had prayed months earlier. Taking a deep breath, he stepped onto the stage. When it was his turn, Daniel presented his technology project. The judges listened carefully. They asked questions. Daniel answered confidently. For the first time in his life, he wasn't thinking about his failures. He was focused on his strengths. When he finished, the audience applauded. Hours later, the judges returned with the results. The hall became silent. Daniel's heart pounded. The chief judge stepped forward. "The winner of this year's National Technology and Innovation Competition is..." Daniel held his breath. A brief pause followed. Then came the words he would never forget. "Daniel." The crowd erupted into applause. For a moment, Daniel couldn't move. He could hardly believe what he was hearing. Tears filled his eyes. But the surprises were not over. The chief judge continued. "In recognition of his outstanding innovation and potential, Daniel has been awarded a fully funded scholarship to the Global Institute of Technology." The audience gasped. The scholarship included tuition, accommodation, travel expenses, and guaranteed career placement after graduation. Daniel stood frozen. Everything he had prayed for, everything he had hoped for, everything he thought was impossible, was suddenly standing right in front of him. Miss Neema covered her mouth in disbelief. Months earlier, she had prayed for an opportunity to impact a student's life. Now she was witnessing the answer to that prayer. Back home, the news spread quickly. His younger brother and sister jumped with excitement. His mother cried tears of joy, and his father stood proudly among family, friends, and neighbors. With a smile on his face, he pointed toward Daniel and said, "That's my son." For the first time in many years, Daniel saw pride shining in his father's eyes. At that moment, he understood something important. His failures had never defined him. They had only been part of the journey, and the God he had cried out to during his darkest moments had never forgotten him. The same God who heard his prayer on that lonely night. The same God who sent Miss Neema into his life. The same God who opened a door nobody expected. As the celebration continued, Daniel silently bowed his head. "Thank you, Lord," he whispered. Lessons from Daniel's story. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on people too quickly. Sometimes the greatest potential is hidden behind the greatest struggles. One person believing in you can change your life forever. Keep working hard. Keep believing. Keep praying. And trust God's timing. Because your breakthrough may be closer than you think. Thank you for watching. If Daniel's story inspired you, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a comment below. Have you ever faced a challenge that made you want to give up? We would love to hear your story. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring, funny, emotional, and life-changing stories. See you in the next story. God bless you.